Hi, we're at Digital Collective with Brian Monahan, IPG Labs, EVP Managing Partner. We want to ask you a few questions maybe about some emerging trends that you're seeing in the 2010 technology environment.
Yeah, I think the trend that's most interesting is, if 2010 was the year people went digital, when we all set up social profiles and personas, and well, 2009 was when people went digital. If 2010 was when places went digital, and we started checking in and sort of identifying locations with GPS technology and checking activities, we think 2011 is when things go digital, when we start tagging products and objects with data that you can access through your phone, just through optical recognition, not even a barcode or a QR code or anything like that. I think that's a big deal because it's sort of like augmented reality sort of grows up and starts to have real marketing application.
Can you give me some specifics and possibly how those would play into the role of a digital marketing campaign?
Yeah. So we just did some research where we were following shoppers who were purchasing consumer electronics, and we wanted to see the role of sort of these reviews, these apps where you sort of scan the barcode at the point of purchase and pull up the editorial reviews.
QR code.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see how influential that content was. We had over 30% of our respondents said they bought more because of the experience. They found it more influential than the product packaging, the signage, or the associate in the store itself. So the ability to see an object, take a device, pull up deeper, richer information, and this was like version 1.0, just like sort of basic reviews. Like imagine when you start to have great demo videos and real-time connectivity and question and answer, like just the possibilities we think are almost endless, and we think it's a really powerful marketing tool and selling tool.
What are some of the brands that come to mind, maybe even just one or two brands, that you think are really using some of this smart, cutting-edge technology that you guys are watching on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think when you think about who's really applying cutting-edge technology, the people that come to mind are the content companies themselves, because they have such great stuff to work with. When you're a studio and you've got cool assets that you can start pushing out in different ways. I think that interestingly enough, some of the pharmaceutical brands, so there's a lot of issues there with what you can and can't say, but I think it's almost because of that they're getting creative about how they build communities, how they get information out into the hands of influencers and doctors and whatnot. So I think there's even in categories where you would think they have some systemic limitations from experimenting and doing cool stuff, we're actually seeing some interesting stuff.
How does IPG Labs keep track of everything that's happening? What are your sources? What are your methods?
Yeah. With the lab, so we have our flagship facility in Los Angeles, and we're about to break ground about our facility in New York, and another one hopefully soon in San Francisco. And so we see a lot of clients. We see about 15 clients a month. And so it's across the IPG network. So we get a nice sort of cross-section of marketers' problems. And then we sort of have our own lens that our staff brings to it in terms of technology developments, media marketplace developments, but most importantly, consumer literacy. So we spend a lot of time trying to understand how consumers are adopting this technology. Our labs are wired up with biometric analysis, so not only can we do focus groups in there, we can actually track their sort of emotional response to the stuff we're putting in front of them. We spend a lot of time with them in their homes, doing ethnographic research, surveying them. We have some cool survey tools that we've built. So at the end of the day, consumers are going to rule how we can speak to them, because they're going to adopt technology in certain ways. And the way we try to keep on top of it at the lab is really staying close to what consumers are doing.
So how do you inform the digital marketing community of some of these trends that you're seeing? Do they come to you, or how do you disseminate this information so that they can also benefit?
Yeah, we share our learnings. Obviously we have our blog and we have our internal webcasts that we do throughout IPG, and our experience when clients come to us in the lab. And we love to share our research at industry events like what iMedia puts on. And because we think it's important for everyone just to sort of figure out what all this stuff can do, so we can sort of move forward and get a lot more sophisticated with how we apply the technology.
What's the funnest gadget that you're pretty much fascinated by right now, that you see as being sort of the next step for a lot of different gadgets?
I think the gadget that I'm most excited by is probably an obvious answer. It's Connect. I mean, it's just an amazing piece of technology, and really a whole new way of how you interface with technology and how you control things, and then your brains just starts to reel when you think about the possibilities of using the camera on a television set to change the way we calculate television ratings, or to do dynamic product placement in shows based on what's in the room itself, and so it's much more than a game controller. It really is a revolutionary interface to technology.
You mentioned that IPG recently came out with a report. Is there any one specific detail from that report that you think would be particularly of interest to digital marketers?
I think there were two things that were really interesting in that. One was that over 30% of the people who used this shopping app, said they bought more because of it, right? So I think there's a fear that people are going to use technology at the moment of truth in the store to price check and then go buy elsewhere. So I think there's some fear about, is this actually a good thing for the retailer? And our data shows that we think it actually builds basket size. Because, and I think this is the second thing that was most interesting about it, was because it creates a better shopping experience, right? They found it more influential than the product packaging. And so, if you can, our data has consistently shown that if you can remove doubt and build confidence with a shopper that they're making the right decision, that you're going to win that purchase, and that they're not going to just put their hands up and say, I'm going to make up my mind later. So, building basket size and sort of improving the experience, I think, were the two key findings from it.
Great, thank you. Brian Monahan at Digital Collective.